Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we have a very important discussion with one of my good friends who is also a scholar and I would say a professor, no matter how he wants to receive it or not. He's also the GRASAC president, so that is really a very good commitment with a lot of responsibilities over the US and as far as studies abroad is concerned. So today I want to have a discussion with Kojo. Kojo is in University of Kentucky doing his PhD, and we are going to talk about everything study abroad, living abroad as a student, academic life, visa process, some of the important things that will help you if you're already in the US in the way you live your life, and if you are preparing to travel or you are preparing to submit an application or you have the desire to study abroad. I believe this conversation will be very useful for you. So, Kojo, welcome.
Thank you very much, my dear brother.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I know because of academic commitments and other social commitments, is we talk once a while, so I don't take these meetings lightly. Thanks for being here. So, can you give us briefly what you are studying in the US? I know you've been in the US for over the past 2 years. So, can you tell us what you are doing and when you arrived and how things are moving for you?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you also having me to be on this platform, your esteemed platform, to share my experiences for both prospective applicants and those who are already living here. I got to the US in 2021 to the Ohio University for my master's program, master's in communication and development. So I stayed there for 2 years, and then last year, 2023, I completed May 2023, and then in August 2023, I joined the University of Kentucky College of Communication, where I'm studying a PhD in communication with specialization in health communication. So my research is much more into health communication. I'm looking into mental health and health campaign message design. So broadly, that's what I do.
Yeah, I think your research is very unique. The first time I read your profile, I was like, oh, mental health is something we don't really take serious, especially the aspects you are taking with regards to communication. So I'm very proud of you, and I'm happy that you are among the few Africans who are into this field. Also, I know you have a lot of experience guiding students in studying abroad. From the time you arrived, even before you came, I know you read people's statement of purposes, you give your thoughts and properly guide them on how they can go about the process. So, can you tell us in your own experience, what are some common misconceptions that students hear about the study abroad process? Can you share some common misconception out there that students should watch out for as they prepare to study abroad?
Well, thank you very much, and I commend you for bringing this topic up, because I have had the opportunity to also watch other platforms, and nobody talks about misconception.
Yes.
Information out there is just sugar coated, just
Yes.
to make it appealing. Of course, I know most of these content creators are also in there for commercial purposes. So, of course, you need to sell your products in a way and manner in which it will be very appealing to those who are consuming. So, I can't fault them on that. But, however, there are also ethical aspects that sometimes I also look up to. There are in a bit to make the story very attractive to people way back home, who sometimes, I want to use this word, and I'm choosing this word advisedly, and for the lack of want of a better word, some are kind of desperate.
Yeah.
And we know people who also play on the emotions of their desperation to sugarcoat things and make things look different from what sometimes the realities are, just to get them on. So for you to actually highlight this as the first thing is very, very important, and I applaud you for that. There are a lot of misconceptions ongoing out there. Coming back to my research, the reason why I even came into mental health was because of my lived experience when I got to the US.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me knows that I had a background in African studies. I did my master's in Ghana International Relations, and so when I got to the US, the goal was to continue through that trajectory of international diplomacy, political science, global peace and security. That was what I came to do. Now I get to the United States. I was fortunate. I was very, very fortunate because in my experience, I had family here whom they lovingly welcomed me. So uh
Your
my
transition.
my transition was very,
Yeah.
very smooth, I should say.
Yeah.
However, even though the family was living in Columbus, my school was in Athens, Ohio. I lived with the family for about 2 weeks, and then the D-Day came that they had to drop me off at school. Even though I had had that exciting part with them for the first 2 weeks of me getting into the United States, when they dropped me off at school and they left, then I noticed that no, life is different.
Hmm.
And everybody who knows Ohio University knows that Ohio University has a very strong Ghanaian population. So
Yeah.
then you ask me why? I mean, you already have community. Why? That is the reality that we don't talk about. There's that sense of reality that hits you so much, so
Yeah.
hard when you transition, that people usually do not talk of. When we bring these conversations up, I try to tell people this is not to scare you, but it is to rather prepare you. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed before you get here. A lot of people do not know this, and so they come here and it hit them so hard. It was during these early stages that my mental health was really distraught. I had never thought about anything mental health. In our culture, we don't even discuss that. And I realized that it was having a heavy toll on me. I tried to find out from my other colleagues, and I realized they were going through similar or even worse things. That was when my research trajectory I became very interested into mental health. So it tells you that the transitioning is not just all like that.
Yeah.
You've been admitted, of course. The narrative out there makes it look like coming to the United States for school in itself is the key to
Success.
success, or it's a remedy to all the worries and woes that you've been going through all your
Yeah.
life. So immediately I get admitted and I'm going to the United States, all my challenges and problems are taking off.
Yeah.
I'm in the United States. It will interest you to know that there are some people who even think that once we say you have funding, it means that by the time you come, there is some money waiting for you, there's accommodation for you, there's so
Yeah.
transition and you come and your house is there, your building is there, your
Yeah.
money is coming in, and all that. They have this in their mind. I've got to talk to people, and they are telling me this. I'm like, please, 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 hold on. That is not the
Yeah.
situation. This is a huge fallacy. It's an
Yeah.
error. Because, for example, even at Ohio University, when we transitioned, the first time we had our stipends was at the end of September.
Yeah.
Now, you get to the school, you need to work on accommodation. A lot of our people who are coming here, or those on YouTube talking to them, do not tell them the real things about even transition with accommodation.
Yes.
I did not even know I needed a guarantor. I did not know that I didn't have a credit score, and so I could not even do it myself. I needed a guarantor who is going to guarantee for me to. I didn't know there were these rigorous process in getting accommodation.
Security deposits.
I didn't know this. All these things. And I'm telling you, hundreds of people that do not know. They do not know. They think they're transitioning it. I'm telling you the truth. And for a fact, because I said I had some relatives here, and my cousin had to step in and do it for me. Now I'm looking at those who never had that. There are a whole lot of back and forth and all that people had to go through before they got in. Now, they tell you, even after you've gotten in, they tell you are moving in on a certain date, which sometimes maybe in the middle of August.
Yeah.
Now you go and pay some. I moved in on 19th August. I should think. Now I move in on 19th August. I'm paying full for the month of August. Right on 1st of September, I am expected to pay another full rent.
Yeah.
So within a 2 weeks period, I am paying a full rent for another month. For the month of, I've paid full for August, even though I paid for 2 weeks. And then on 1st September, which people we also know here, rents are due on the 1st.
On the 1st, yeah.
It's not like in our way back home where you can go and tell your landlord that your cuckoo has crashed.
Yeah, can you give me some time? Landlord, me see mutia. Me ton me kokobi.
Yeah. We don't do all this. Everything is like ijasu. And then my stipends was coming on 30th September.
Yeah.
You ask myself, what kind of money? How was I going to survive?
Yeah.
You get it. And this in itself can be really traumatizing. So if you don't get this information,
and for you, it is only because you also had stipend. So even though you were struggling, that is you. Yeah. We'll come to those who don't come with scholarship. So just continue. We'll come to that. Yeah.
Just because I had at the time was even partial funded. And I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. I was able to get on-campus job, and as a F1 visa status, you are not allowed to work outside the university. Ohio University had a very relaxed rule a little bit, because even when I had not had my social security, they were able to get us on campus jobs
Good
where
job.
they were working on us. So
Yeah.
immediately we were able to. And this is unique to the Ohio University. It is not like that in most universities.
Yeah.
I
And for
was
some universities, like my first school I went to, you may not get all the 20 hours because you are sharing with a lot of students. So the maximum you could get is 10
even at
hours.
Ohio University, it was the same thing too. I mean, you're
Yeah.
competing availability of hours. That's what it means.
Yes.
So if someone
Yes.
is telling you that, oh, you can work on campus, of course you may work, but it's also availability of the hours that are there. Nothing
Yes.
is
It's
written.
not guaranteed, right?
There's no guarantee.
Yes.
Unlike how you are made to know, because if you know all this through, then you know it was based on availability of hours that were available. That's where you could work shifts that you could take. Sometimes if you are very lucky and somebody doesn't show up, and then you are able to stay in. So that was in my situation. We were able to take
Oh.
that, and we were getting a pittance. The
Yeah.
money I was at the time, we were being paid $9 an hour, and those of us who I was working on the campus factory, a food factory.
Yeah.
There were sections, those of us who decided to work in the dish room,
Mm-hmm.
we had, I think, 50 cents added to it. All other people had just $9
Yeah.
out.
And that's basically to help you buy groceries, right? Not to pay your tuition.
It was nothing.
Yeah. So in a week, if you have 10 hours, you are looking at $90 gross, and tax will come in, and you come to around
Exactly.
$75.
And
So
I tell people that in the US, when someone offers you a job and tells you I'm paying you $15, for me, my calculation is I do it $10.
yeah.
Because I told myself I'm giving I know 5 is for tax. If it is
Yeah.
less, hallelujah for me. But
Yeah.
$15, you don't make calculations with $15. It's what a lot of people also out there make. They check their, sometimes those even have the fund. They check their stipends and calculate it. Oh, okay, that's money. You're not looking at taxes will come in. So that amount of money they are telling you is the gross. So it was just a pittance that I had.
So the idea that when you get your visa and you come to the US, you'll be all right. It's a fallacy. It's not all true.
It is a lie. I tell people, and this is how I want people to see what I'm saying. I watch most of these content creators, snippet of them. Sometimes people do live on TikTok, and when you see somebody speaking truth like this, sometimes it may not even be related to school. Are people trying to share you that? Then you see the comment section.
Yeah. Let me give you.
Yes, I love and I understand them from the point, because I think they are in a certain situation where they think they are the worst,
Yeah.
and so they want to just and also the misconception of information that has been posted out there online. It makes them feel like you are not telling the truth.
Yeah.
And then they jump in and then they come. I am telling you, because of my role, not just even because of the role as GRASAC president, but we've helped people, we've gotten in touch with people. I have dozens, and now it's even worse, of students who come here and they are stranded and frustrated.
Let me give you a practical example that you might not know, but it came through you. One of my friends contacted me that there is a student coming to University of Rochester. He met the student in one of GRASAC programs that you organize. He's already in the US, so I should go and pick the student up. And I have a relationship with this student, so I said, okay, that's fine. I'll go and pick him up. And I went to pick him from the airport, and unfortunately, the accommodation plan that he had, the school told him that you cannot go to this accommodation because this landlord is a bully. This landlord we've cancelled him from our accommodation structure and all that. So after I picked him from the airport around 1 a.m., basically because of what the school said, he had no place to go. So I have to at that moment bring him home, right, and house him for whatever time until he gets his own accommodation and move in. So in this case, assuming this student did not meet me, what would have been his fate, right? It would have been very challenging for him. So that is where I want to come to. What are your experiences with students in similar situations? As GRASAC president, in our email just now, I was checking my phone. I was chatting with one student who had already arrived, but he didn't get enough scholarship, and he was looking out for the school said when I come, we will talk about graduate assistantship Because when he came for coaching, I insisted, do you have plans to pay this? Because the amount of money you are talking about is huge. And I have experience with this school before. They are not lenient. They are radical about their school fees. So what are you going to do? And he said, oh, I'll survive. I have an uncle and all that. Now, this morning, he sent a message. He's very desperate. He wants to either transfer to a community college or he's looking for a loan. And the kind of loan, that option that he has, about 16 to 17% interest. It's ridiculous. Like, it has so many implications. So can you tell us your own experience as GRASAC president with some of these issues?
The experience are enormous. I mean, from people coming to you asking for money for sometimes even groceries, simple things. It tells you it's very difficult because sometimes those basic things that you will assume that they do have, people do not. Getting messages and, like you said, for GRASAC, in the name of GRASAC, with emails, people asking you to help them finance the remainder of their school fees, people going distressed because they don't have any money, people telling you they want to work, they can you help them to find work, people sometimes have to move to other places and they are seeking for accommodation because the amount of money they have cannot afford these accommodations. There are a lot. And sometimes I sit back and I reflect on all this and I ask, why should people subject themselves to some of these challenges? People do talk about the systems are not, but what hurts so much is there are some people who are doing fairly well in Ghana, left their jobs because they want to study in the United States, because they've created that impression that is much better. And so they left their jobs, think that they were doing that, they could at least provide something basic for themselves. Left it and accepted a no funding offer.
And they didn't do their own due diligence.
Because they've been told that, oh, when you come, you can find something.
And sometimes some people cite example. Oh, I have a friend there who didn't get funding, and he also came and he's now this. So
who use themselves even as examples. But these are unique, very isolated situations, which cannot be generalized to every institution. So when people even ask me about schools and I coach them, I try to tell them that these are unique to my schools, the schools that I've attended to, and the few ones that I personally know, that I do have friends who have shared. I say the United States has over thousands of universities. I'm not privy to everything that goes on. There are unique situations and issues in every university. So if I'm very prone to Ohio University's structure and University of Kentucky, and maybe few people I've spoken to who I know, I cannot come and advise you on what goes on at the University of Connecticut when I have nothing to do with the University of Connecticut. I cannot. Funding processes, on-campus jobs, even the
culture
is unique from where I know. So if I come and sit as the author of all and know it of all American universities just because I'm a grad school, it's erroneous, right? It's erroneous and maybe very misleading. Unfortunately, that's what we do get people say. So people are misled into this and they leave and they come. I have a lot of people who have told me they regret making that decision. They are regretting not because they embarked on this journey to study. I always say
they didn't do their due diligence.
Exactly. They did not plan well before transition. So I think the first of all this conversation and what we are trying to do and where we are getting to is to plan appropriately. Plan. Do not be in a rush to be misled by the conversation. Plan appropriately. Like this, if you don't have funding, I tell people do not make that risk. And you do not have money.
And you're going for a loan.
So if you're going for a loan, and whichever loan you have applied for, if you think the rate and whatever is okay. My point is, if you do not have any form of financial backing support to help you integrate into the system, it will be a waste of time. You can't be stressed, you cannot cooperate, you may end up getting into illegalities, and then if you're not very careful, it will end you up put you in a situation which will mess everything up. Just last year, there were about close to 70 students, some people from some schools in Tennessee, who violated their F1 visa status and were kicked out of the university. they were asked to leave the United States.
Yes, I have a lot of violators that who
Majority,
reach out and
majority of them who violate their visa status is because of work.
yes,
Because they don't have the money. They get here and they realize
yeah,
they can't wait for no man. At Ohio University, when I had a deficit of I think 2,500, I received an email from the account office on the 22nd of September every month that it is due. If I do not 1 point something% of increment comes on it.
yeah. And at Yale, aside the interest, you are locked out of everything. You cannot use your card, your ID card to access anything.
Register when registration, and I
yes,
a very powerful worded email from
emails.
that.
Sometimes with the red ink.
That's what red ink that if I do not make payment, nobody told me about all these things.
Yeah.
I never.
And you see, the truth is, when you receive those emails, it's very frustrating.
It is
very frustrating. Like yes, very traumatizing.
Because you know the other points. So what am I doing? Fortunately for me, that's what I'm saying. If I tell you my story or someone tell you their story, do not just rest your hope on all that they are saying, because they are unique experiences.
Yeah.
How I was able to overcome this was by divine intervention. At the time we came during the COVID, Ohio University was giving out some monies to students if you apply.
Yeah.
I got $1,000 out of that. I took my credit card, Discover, which gave me 2,000. I said, okay, let me use part of it, and I think my brother supported something like that, and that's how I was able to. It wasn't very easy.
And that is also partly because of the amount involved. If you are paying, you are owing $3,000. It is not the same as owing $35,000 in tuition.
$1,000. Some people.
Yes. 20,000, 10,000, 15,000. These are different experiences compared to $3,000.
I have a friend who was at the university, a university in South Dakota. We shared a story. We talked. There was a point in time they had to import money from Ghana to him.
Yeah.
You may not believe it, but yes, they have to, because it was getting wild. And like you said, he had passed the due date. And once you get into the system, there's no mercy in this country. I tell people.
Yes.
I jokingly tell my friend, I say, in the United States, I didn't
know that it was. I wasn't allowed to work. You see, now, Kojo, let's come specifically. I have had students who come and they decide to not attend school and go and work or do unauthorized work and all that. And some of them, after 3 months, they realize that their CVs have been cancelled. So even though their visa say 4 years, it's still not. It's useless. And after a few months, they realize that it's even cost more not to attend school, because now they are illegal. Basically, they are out of status. The only way they can reinstate their status is either go outside the country and reapply, which we all know is basically difficult to get the visa. When you leave, that will be difficult. And most of them are in a situation they cannot leave. They are in a situation they cannot renew their visas or do anything. They have families in the US, in Ghana, sorry. Go ahead.
Once it's violated, like I have a couple of people like that. I mean, I had a time, there was this young man that after I spoke to him, he came back to thank me and said, Kojo, thank you. I'm excited I brought this conversation up, and I'm excited the advice you gave me, because he was also on the verge of doing something, I'll say silly like that. We had it because, it's all about misinformation, how people,
misinformation, yes.
And all those kind of things.
Yes.
So he was also excited about it. I spoke, like you said, I told him, man, your visa, F1 visa status with your I-20, which gives you the validity in the country, your stay in the country, you have no idea what that means to you.
Yeah. The cost of losing your status as a student is worse. It's irreparable damage, unless probably you marry a citizen.
Which we all know is not something that is also.
How do you? Yes, it's not like people are there and go and marry them.
Yes. Let me just walk into the market and marry someone.
And marry, yeah.
It has its own processes. So the misleading and the misinformation aspect is what I am so much interested about. That if you transition here, it is not just all rosy.
Yeah.
It is not.
I like it.
There are a lot of responsibility
Yes.
that comes with this journey.
Yes. Yes.
I tell people it is a very exciting journey, especially if you this is what you want to do. It is a unique opportunity for you to excel, to explore. But it is not enough to be admitted and come to the United States. It is not enough to just get admitted. You need to do it right. You need to
All
make
right.
sure you get all the things that will be needed to help you. Because mind you, those who get full funding still struggle.
Yes.
I am a fully funded PhD
Yeah.
student now. I still have my struggle. It's still not easy.
Yes.
So you
It's
can
like
imagine,
basically studying in the US.
it's
There's
not.
no way that studying in the US can make you rich.
It is not meant to make you rich.
Yes, it's a hand to mouth lifestyle.
And that's the secret. One of the secret I was fortunate to work at Ohio University. I did work with a graduate student senate, and I was
Yeah.
fortunate to serve on one of those student stipends committees.
Yeah.
So I that was when I noticed how these institutions also do their thing. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, the funding is determined by the cost of living.
Yes.
So mind you, if you have a funding from, let's say, a university that is giving you, let's say, 20,000, and another university is offering you, let's say, 30,000, 35,000. You see, the natural human will be like, oh, let me go to the 30,000.
Yes.
You see, they don't have enough money just doling out. The 30,000 university environment will cost me. You end up realizing that the one who is using the 30,000 in that environment is paying more in terms of utilities cost, where I am paying, let's say, $500 for accommodation. That same accommodation, which may even be worse than what I have, the person may be paying least at $1,200 or the least $1,000.
Yeah.
So the stipends are rated based on the cost of living. So it's not a matter of this person is getting more. We may be getting different stipends, but our cost of living will make
Maybe
our
yes.
expenses
Our
the
stipend.
same.
Yeah.
And it is made to just sustain you hand to mouth.
It's a break even
Yes.
funding. And sometimes the expenditure is even a little bit high with health insurance, books, and
That's what I was going to say.
yes.
Add that unexpected miscellaneous things that sometimes we do not even think about, we do not consider, which comes in, like the health insurance, for example. You may be in a school at Ohio University, the school subsidized it for us, but I still had a balance of, I think, $500 or so that I had to pay for my
Yeah.
me. There are some schools, they may not even give you the health insurance. You may have to find it yourself. At the end of the day, we ended up getting some ones which had, I think, zero copay or whatever. But you know, those ones to the services are very limited.
Yeah.
I didn't know how dangerous that was until I traveled to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and I took ill, and I was going to see a primary care physician, and I went with my insurance, and they checked it and said no.
You don't cover this.
Yeah, I don't qualify because the kind of subscription that I have does not cater for out of states.
Yeah.
And my face was round, and just the diagnosis,
the visit
consultation was about $250.
Yeah.
I didn't have, so I didn't go.
Yeah.
I have to go to CVS and get some self-medication.
Painkillers.
Yes. You see, this is not to scare anybody.
Yes.
I said this. People will say, like I'm saying, people come and like, oh, Master Munja, I am not. You see, I am already here. I am finding my feet. I don't need this information for anyone. When you come to the United States, it doesn't take my status out from me. Anybody who come from school, it wouldn't take, like, I don't know what I would lose if it,
for you coming or not coming.
Yes, or not coming. It is meaningless to me. I mean, like, it is meaningless to me. I stand to lose nothing. There's never going to tell me that because I have you are coming, Kojo, we are stripping you off your never. But what I am trying to avoid for you is to have a good experience. Let your transition be a smooth one. Even though the hitches will definitely come. If some of these things are well structured before you came, it hits you, but
you prepare and you know what to do.
That way, so that sometimes you are compelled to do things you are not supposed to do. And then, like I said, these people who were exterminated for the visa issues, most of them, of course, didn't have stipends. They had to survive too. Life must go on. You are dying, so then it is a do or die affair. So now you get to that point of your life where I have to now do or die, and sometimes life does not elude you, and then you get to this stage. So it is a matter of, I want people to take this conversation in good faith to really structure themselves. And like you said, I have coached people so far, if I'm not exaggerating, about 20 people who have passed through my coaching and
Yeah.
I've been here. And if I am coaching and I'm telling you this, the key things I'm telling you, when we are applying, our focus and our target is to target funding, at least partial funding.
Yeah.
Enough.
Yeah. So Kojo, we will come there right away. So let me add something to what you just said so that we will conclude on that and come to the application with funding and all that. I think one of the things I love is when you say that this is to give information for people to be prepared and for people to do their due diligence. And sometimes the fact that you receive an admission this year does not mean you should come. You can reapply, right? You can. Some of us have to. Yeah.
People have even deferred because they realize, and I've advised people on that. There are a lot of people have advised. Oh, they tell me, Kojo, I had admission this. I'm like, what was the funding? Some I didn't get funding. Some the funding was very small. I'm like, dude, you know what? I know you want to come. The goal is not just to come here. I want you to come do well. Let us defer right to the school. Tell them that because of this and this, the financial, because I know you do not have the financial capabilities. Do not come. Let us defer. They defer the following year. Boom, they get the money.
The money. Yeah.
And life is it's smooth for them in that regard. So deferment and
reapplying.
My point is that I when I coach people, a lot of them I laugh and I'm like, when they are like, I'm like, dude, let me tell you,
yes,
you definitely come. I mean, you will come. Let us do it and do it well. So when you come, you yourself will enjoy the experience because of how well you plan. And I am proud to see that all the people that I have guided, that I've spoken to. Unless you didn't want to listen to me and want to do whatever, that I don't have any. I will give you all the guidance. Who have come are pretty much doing very well. They are here. They are doing well. And it gives me a lot of joy because then it saves me also that pressure of now somebody sending you email, somebody sending you text messages, voice messages. And I also don't have any help because I'm also an international student.
Yeah.
I'm also on the 20-hour work. Just yesterday, I received an email from my international student and scholar services. I even wanted to screenshot it and post it because it was from the office reminding international students of our eligibility in terms of work and how we violate our visa status.
Yeah.
You are reminded every day. So that information is very important. We need to know what we are getting ourselves into before we start the application.
Yes. Now let's get into the application.